What is going on, everybody? This is my first video officially on YouTube. It's going to be like a little bit of a podcast-esque series, So we talk about topics I'm interested in entertainment, so music, movies, comic books, stuff like that. And with that being said, the first topic about this first episode is going to be about DC and their Fan Appreciation Day, which I believe was on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, at the time of me recording this. And they had a lot of interesting content, because I think DC's been pretty quiet for the last year or two. I know the pandemic hit and they probably had releases that they had to push back. So does Marvel with the Black Widow movie and stuff like that. In terms of DC, I am a huge DC fan. I actually like DC more than Marvel, if we're not counting movies. Now this decade they obviously got stomped out by Marvel in terms of movies, but and still, like, video games, cartoons, other comic books, still, like, I still think DC, to me personally, is better. Now a lot of that is that I'm a huge Batman fan, and that brings me to one of the first things they released that caught my eye was the Arkham Knights game that they're releasing. And I think it should be a continuation of Arkham Knight, the last game they made, where Batman, he didn't kill himself, but like he's no longer in the public eye. Like, that's done. I think it is a continuation. Now a lot of fans are actually pretty upset with this because Montreal Games is the studio making this one, not Rocksteady. I think it's Rocksteady. So they made the Arkham City game, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of fans did not like that game. I like the combat. I mean, I like the story of it. I didn't actually play the game. I went through the walkthrough of that. But I played Arkham Knight and I played Arkham Asylum. I actually really didn't. I like Arkham Knight, but like, there could have been things improved with it, especially some of the boss battles with the tank and stuff. I think they went a little overboard with that. But I'm not gonna hate the game out the bat. The combat system did look a little wonky though. Like, they had like a number thing now. I think like they have health at 100, and every time you hit them, like, it takes like 20 off. Kind of like with Fortnite, like when you shoot somebody, you see the numbers like come off. It looked a little weird. One of the things I do like about the Arkham combat system is it feels like you're punching a puncher bag, like with a controller, and even like the combos used. It feels like I'm hitting a puncher bag every time I fight as Batman. So it didn't seem like they had that same type of energy when they were showing the combat system and stuff with the trailers and stuff. So I'm not gonna hate it out the gate. A lot of people were saying they didn't like the leveling system of it. The graphics look okay. I'm more concerned about the gameplay, obviously, and the story. The graphics, I mean, they look okay. I don't know how they're gonna look on PS5 or Xbox One when a new generation of consoles hits. So we'll see about that. But another thing, continuing with the video games that they released, was the Suicide Squad versus Justice League 1. Now this one looks like it's supposed to release in 2022. So this was more of a, hey, it exists thing. I think it's supposed to go along with the movie. So I'm actually pretty interested about that. The banter between the characters in that looked better than the actual Suicide Squad movie. I was not that big of a fan of the Suicide Squad movie, but the jokes, I was laughing at it. It was a little pretty decent. It looks like a Brainiac story. He takes over the Justice League. Superman's evil now. They gotta fight Superman. I don't know how realistically that would work. How the Suicide Squad is gonna beat Superman. Because he's evil now, so it's not like he's holding back punches. So the way they were setting it up, I'm like, Superman can just kind of end all you guys right there. But I'm really interested. It looks it has a similar style to Fortnite, actually, which, it makes sense. Like, the characters in the Suicide Squad are very cartoonish, very animated. So it would make sense for it to look very cartoonish and animated. Like, I'm not saying it wouldn't make sense with a more realistic art style, but I think it fits the tone of what the Suicide Squad do usually. So, I'm not mad about that. And I think that's kind of it when it comes to video games. Another thing I was interested in was the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut of Justice League. I was not a fan of Justice League. I was a very big fan of Batman v Superman. I think that got a lot of hate for no reason. But that's a different topic. The Snyder Cut, I think they're releasing it with 4 episodes that are an hour long on HBO or something. So I'm definitely going to check that out. From the trailer, it does look like a different movie. I don't know what was taken out of the movie. I felt like they just made Justice League way too early. Like, if you look how they made Marvel and stuff like that, like, it took them like how many movies in before they finally made an Avengers movie. Like, Iron Man was already established at that time. Thor had a movie, and Captain America. So it wasn't like we were not like new to these type of people coming into movies. So I felt like they rushed it. Like, they could have had a Batman solo movie, which was another movie that was announced. And I'm kind of sad Ben Affleck's not in it, because I actually really liked Ben Affleck as a Batman. I thought he was really good. I don't know. I don't kind of understand that hate between Batman and Superman. Like, I get it. There were stupid plot points with it, like the whole Martha thing. But, I thought it was a decent movie. But in terms of that, I'm like semi-excited for the Snyder Cut. Honestly, I think at this point DC would just be better served rather making straight up Elseworld stories where none of their stories connect, like what they're doing with the Joker. I don't know. I don't know if this Batman is in continuity, like it's supposed to be a younger Batman, or if this is like straight out of continuity. I don't know. Or they should just reboot, like one of the two. Which I don't think they're gonna reboot, because it's still a fairly new series. And then they would have to make another Justice League movie, and it's like at that point you get into like oversaturating the market. So I would understand why they would try to continue. I don't know if Ben Affleck's going to continue to be Batman. I personally liked him. I thought he was a smooth Bruce Wayne. People were complaining like, oh, he looks old, but I don't think they didn't get that. Like, he was supposed to be an older Batman. Like, he already had a Robin. I already went through the story arcs. But this one looks cool. I think the Riddler is the villain, which I don't think he's been. I think he was obviously Jim Carrey, like back in the day, but I don't think he's been on screen, at least on the big screen, in a while. So I'm interested in that. And the guy who's playing him, I think he's from Twilight. He looks a lot like a young Batman. Like, I can see it. I did find that scene funny, because I'm curious how they're going to approach this, because if you see the memes of Batman now, and this whole thing with police brutality, and he kind of beats the crap out of people, sometimes unnecessary. Like, that fight, like, when they're like in a warehouse or something like that, and he like punches him 7 times or something like that, when he was probably already knocked out. He looked like he was dead. Like, it looks cool. Like, obviously, I'm not going to complain about that, but I can see that kind of being an issue in this, like, heightened time. Like, Batman does kind of sometimes use unnecessary force, like, to, like, beat the crap out of people. But, it makes for a cool movie. Like, obviously, it wouldn't look cool if he just punched him once. It went down, so, like, I understand that. What else was there? There was the Black Adam movie. The Black Adam movie, with The Rock, I think, playing him. A lot of people were skeptical, because, The Rock, he's The Rock. Like, he don't really go out of his way to go into a character. I'm like, oh, that's The Rock. Now he's a pilot. He got to save his kids. Now he's a bodyguard in a skyscraper. He got to save his kids or whatever. He said himself that he's trying to go deep into the role and do it justice. We'll see. It looks like it's very, very early into the making process. It was animated. Like, even going through the halls was like a video game. I was thinking for a second, like, is this a video game? But, that's a lot of these things are like, you could tell years down the line. And I think they were just getting it out to say, hey, it exists, Fan Appreciation Week. And, yeah, that's kind of it in terms of DC. I definitely think it's a new decade. Besides the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, I'm not really that excited about what Marvel's doing right now. So, maybe this is the decade where DC comes back, and takes over, because they got dominated. Like, Marvel, they went on something else. Like, I still think personally that DC has higher highs than Marvel, but they also have lower lows than Marvel. And I think Marvel is just more consistent. Because, even if we're being honest, nothing Marvel, I think, has been better than the Joker or the Snyder film. So, I definitely, maybe it's just Batman they're good with. But, I definitely think the DC has higher highs. That's what I'm always thinking. But they definitely have lows. And they've missed this last decade a lot. Obviously, they missed a lot. And the best stuff they have done, to me, is either Batman related stuff or it's Elseworld. Like, it's not in continuity, which I personally like because it gives the directors, the writers more freedom to do what they want because they don't have to stick with the rules of what's been already established. They can kind of branch out and like do other stuff, which I think that could be their wheelhouse. I think Joker made a lot of money, right? If I'm not mistaken, it made like a lot of money, so I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't know if I don't know what this Batman story is. I don't know if Ben Affleck's ever coming back to the role or not. I heard people saying like he was done. I don't know. DC is a little confusing all over the place, or maybe I haven't done enough research. So with that, I'm definitely excited for the video games. The video games look cool. I'm a little more excited for the Suicide Squad one, just because I haven't seen anything for that. But yeah. So hopefully they'll come back this decade and won't get dominated by Marvel. And Marvel got that Avengers game coming out, so they're trying to like get into the market of video games and stuff like that. A lot of people hate that game though. I've seen a lot of hate for that game. I don't know why, but that's a different topic for a different day. But if you like the video, I'm going to try to release more content. So with that being said, peace out.